99.5fm.com. Express yourself live on Global Radio 99.5 FM.
Afternoon, Bahamas. This is Professor Sidney McCarter Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. I wanted to talk today about the weather patterns in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas because Bahamians, for successive 3 years, 24, 25, and 26, we have had blistering heat. And it has negatively impacted the lives of Bahamians. We're not getting enough information as to how the health of our people are being affected. We know there have been some people who have died from this heat, excessive heat. It has even affected me like it has never affected before. So I got to try stay in the cool. You got to drink plenty water. Plenty water. Good quality water, too. Bahamians, there has been no significant change in the way people who are working in this heat has improved. None whatsoever. Over the last 3 years. Those people who have to work out in the heat, in the sun, in the blazing, blistering sun, on these roofs, doing work on the streets and so on. And some have been injured, seriously injured, and some have been even killed. One was killed in an accident, waking on in the street. Bahamians, we need to have protective measures in place for these persons who are waking in the daytime. In fact, what I believe very strongly, and I don't see any change in anything to protect those people who have to be working in the day. Not one single thing in 3 years. Now, if you want to challenge me on that, go ahead and challenge me. You tell me where the changes have been made. Not a single change has been made to protect those people who are working in the heat. Fell fall off the roof and died. Then another one got electrocuted in one of the family islands, and he's dead. And there are people who are trying to cover it up. No one wants to admit who the heck he was working for. What kind of crap is that? Is that what a human life is worth? Just a couple of dollars? And persons not willing to admit when they are wrong? That means that's a serious thing, you know. I tell you that about carnal nature. When it comes to things like that, people run for darkness. They don't want to be exposed by the light. But we have to expose them, Bahamians. We have lost too many of our men. Do you understand how serious that is? It was reliably reported to me that even when the regatta was on, a few people decided they want to go home to rest. Unfortunately, they're still resting. They didn't get back to the regatta to see what else was supposed to be happening. These weather patterns we're experiencing now are new to the Bahamas. We haven't had this kind of thing before, but we're experiencing it now. Even last night, they say it was triple-digit temperature. And you have to, it's a good thing I have privacy in my house where, you know, you don't have to put on too much. But that's in the privacy of your own home, in your own place, not elsewhere. But we have had people who have had heat stroke. And of course, people have been advised to drink a lot of water and stay out of the heat. But people are waking in the heat. Where's their protection? What things have been put in place for those construction workers, those who are working on the road, those who are working in the yards? Nothing. What about the bus drivers? The buses that run to and fro in this country? You haven't seen any improvement. No shade for people to stand under. They got to stand in the blistering heat, waiting for a bus to come. But they raised the rates for bus fares. Where is the improvement in the service? None. And of course, there's some other things that are happening in the transportation industry. There's some other people who are fighting over trying to get some money for their particular section. Bahamians are not able to get a taxi if they want a taxi in the nighttime or even in the day. The taxi cab union is not catering to Bahamians, they're catering to tourists. So you either walk or have someone come and pick you up. And sometimes it can be very difficult to get someone to come for you. I know about that. I've been through that. And so what do? You walk in all this heat, this blistering heat, where people could fall out. Bahamians, things must be put in place to protect the interests of the vast majority of Bahamian citizens. That ain't happened yet. Look how many go to the hospital for one health problem after another. I would have thought the hospital would be a place where you get well, where if you have a problem, you go there, they treat you, and you come out, you go home, you rest yourself, and you get well. But people coming out sick. They come out sick, go home sick. What kind of crap is that? And then another problem that you have is with all this heat now, you know, tempers flare, right? Carnal nature. In fact, I saw it just today at a particular place. I won't say what place it is. I'll just leave that like that. You do not know what things are happening to them on the inside. You don't know that. But this level of frustration is extremely high. Very, very high. It's affecting the health of the people. And with all this blistering heat, it makes it even worse. And people could snap, and people could die. That's been happening, Bahamians. I don't like it. And we just have too many people disappearing. Fellow went, say he's going to go die for conch. He's dead. Diving for conch? So what happened? We have some others who may go walking somewhere. I remember the particular lady who was dropped at the hospital. No one came to pick her up. She tried to walk home. Bing! Found dead in the bushes. So I feel very sorry about those persons who have to live in this blistering heat. People who have to wait for someone to bring some water, to bring some food, to turn them over, to clean them, to bathe them. And you don't have family members with the level of patience and understanding for our most vulnerable people, particularly our elderly. We have to do something about that, Bahamians. You can't leave them there in a state where they ought not to be in. They need to be cared for. They need to be looked after. And with all this heat and all this confusion, frustration, there's plenty of frustration here. You know, the lights are always going off. People need light for their medication. The medication will spoil. With all of these lights cutting off over and over and over and over and over again, even the radio stations are being adversely affected. And the smaller ones in particular, and even the larger ones, but particularly the smaller ones. When the equipment is damaged, who's going to be paying for that? So you need that light to keep that medication cool in all this blistering heat. So people's lives and their health are being affected in this situation with this tremendous heat wave that is on. And this is the third year we're having it. And it's worse in 2026. When it started out in 2024, then when 2025, it gets worse. Now 26 is worse. I hope we don't have any storms this year, because it will even be worse still. We don't know what kind of impact that's going to have on the country. We can't afford it. Now, I'd like for people to call in from around the country to give us an understanding of what is happening in their area as far as their health is concerned, conditions in their community, because you need a lot of water to drink, fresh, clean water. The elderly have to be cared for. The children have to be cared for. And of course, school is going to be opening very soon. And the children have to walk in this heat. You can see plenty of people walking. How are we going to cope with that? What measures are going to be put in place to protect these children? How are we going to keep them safe as they move from their homes to school and from school back home? How that's going to be done? Have we made any special plans for that? Have we thought about that? And even up to 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's still hot. Extremely hot. They give you the time when it's at its highest, but look like as you get further into the evening, it gets even hotter. That's what I've been experiencing. And so you have to find shelter. You have to be in a cool place so that you don't get yourself in any excessive trouble as far as your health is concerned. And then we have obesity. That's a serious problem in our country. People have big bellies, big legs, and other parts of their body are big too. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, why is it that we continue to do some things that are not necessarily in our best interests? We have to look at ourselves, Bahamians, and we need to get some sound advice as to what we ought to be doing, because a lot of people don't know. They don't know what to do. In the event of an emergency, many of our people do not know. Person get hit with a stroke because of excessive heat. Don't know what to do. Person just fall out. I had a situation like that I had to personally deal with. I had to move very quickly. And from that point onward, right on up to now, since I know that particular person has that particular problem, I exercise the greatest degree of caution and restraint. That means you have to do that in order to save lives. And in this environment with excessive heat, day and night, the man said the temperature was in 3 digits last night. That's what the man tell me. So even when it's nighttime, you have excessive heat. What are we going to do about it, Bahamians? Is there anything we can do? Yes, there are things we can do. Plenty things we can do in relation to the heat. You got to get some water. That's one thing. You got to keep your body hydrated. And we have to drink good quality water. But they tell me the water from the taps, they're trying to improve that quality. I heard the people from Water and Sewerage talking about that. I know a particular area where the quality of the water is very good from the tap. But then they tell you, boil it. Put it on boil. I believe we have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Professor, I heard you speak on stroke.
Yeah, man. I had a situation where I had to help a particular personality who had a stroke.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to get people to understand is you have to know how to deal with these people. Because if you don't know how to deal with them, they're going to die. Okay? And we have a lot of people disappearing out of this country. All you have to do is look at the papers.
I just wanted to share, while you're correct, we need to stay hydrated as people.
Yes, we do.
And not just pure water, you know.
Yes.
You can get the coconut water and what's not. It has its compounds in it, components. Magnesium for the electrolytes. You got magnesium, chloride, calcium, and potassium.
Yes.
There are the things body needs, so we gotta replenish what the body loses. And it being hot.
Yes.
It being hot right now.
Extremely hot.
The body is losing the nutrients and it's losing toxins as well. So yeah, we just gotta stay hydrated and the best we can. And then mnemonic, one of the mnemonics for a stroke, the initiation of a stroke is fast. You can see the patient, the fixation of the patient area, and you know.
Yeah, caller, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Yes, I'm just telling you, if the person facial expression is droopy, you gotta look at that.
Okay.
And they're slurred, if their voice is slurred.
Yes, that's one indication. Yeah, you're correct.
That's what all you got. Some of the things you can look out for a person from initiating a stroke, you know?
Yes. Caller, I believe that our people are not as sensitive as they ought to be.
Say it again?
Our people are not as sensitive as they ought to be when an emergency occurs.
Professor, you see when people get shut down, everybody is up on their phone and record.
Okay.
So it's like we're immune to like these things happening.
Yes.
So yeah, they're not as sensitive, you know.
No, they're not. Because see, there are some behavioral patterns that need to be changed.
Right.
And I believe that, well, I wouldn't want to say people don't care, but there is a lack of understanding on some very basic, fundamental healthcare principles. In fact, my mother was a nurse all the way back in 1943. And we never had to go to any doctor, you know.
Not at all.
My mother knew exactly what to do, and what she told us to do, it is still working today.
Well, Professor, and not to cut you off, but you bring up your mother. I have to bring up my great-grandmother. You know?
Yes.
She was in her 80s, around the time that I grew up. I
Okay.
got to know her, and that one was strong,
Yes.
people, Reagan, everything. You know what I said?
Yes, that's correct.
So, come on.
Yeah, I think that we are not as sensible as we ought to be, but we have to make some changes. And I think sometimes we are too slow in making changes that are essential for better health conditions in our country. Because people go to Princess Margaret Hospital to get assistance. You were supposed to come out of that institution in a better position than you went in.
Right. I agree.
But there are some people that are saying that that's not happening.
No, it's not.
And so that has to be fixed. And we just can't keep ignoring things.
And Professor, you are the one who says no behavior man, woman, or child should be frustrated.
That's correct. And
Right.
the frustration level over the last 3 years has been extremely high. Even in 2026 it's even high, very high.
Yes, sir. Professor,
Yes, sir.
anything, like, what would you think would be an outcome after the pressure been so high from person?
What would be the outcome?
Yeah, what do you think would be the outcome?
If the pressure gets too high?
Yeah, if the frustration builds too high.
I understand what you're saying now. I don't think you want me to even talk about that.
Right, sure.
Because see,
Professor,
what I am saying now is this, and I try to make people understand. There are some basic, fundamental things that we can do as citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas
right,
to bring the stress level down. That's point number one. Point number two, we're not hearing enough from those who say they are trained in healthcare professionalism. We're not hearing enough from them. You know how many times I've advertised on this show? I have said to them, I would like to have a conversation with them. I said, I may not know all their names and their contacts,
If you'd like to
but
make
they
a
can
call,
call the radio station right here and leave their name and number, and I can contact them. Because we need to understand why so many people are dying in a country the size of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Why? Why are we having so many dead people? Why so many of our men are disappearing? We got our crew getting killed and that kind of thing. We could do without that. But a fellow went home from the regatta and he wanted to get back. He never got back. Never returned. And we have people like that, Bahamians, who are being affected negatively by the heat. And people don't know. People who are associated with them don't know what's happening on the inside of them. They're oblivious to that. And they don't know how to speak to one another. They don't know how to communicate with one another. They talk a lot of crap. They talk a lot of foolishness. They talk a lot of nonsense. And that also has a negative impact. That helps to build the frustration. The Constitution says, no man, woman, or child shall ever have their lives frustrated by what? By deprivation. That's people being deprived of essential services in this country. Being deprived of electrical services is unconstitutional. Do you know that? PPL has a responsibility to keep the lights on, but they can't do it. Lights going off at any time. You don't know when it's going to happen. People losing their foodstuffs. Okay? Particularly small business people. I believe we have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Mr. Producer, I'm not hearing the caller. Caller, you're live on air. Would you go ahead, please? I think we have to move on. Just cut the caller. The point is, Bahamians, when you call into the show, right? Listen for when the host says you're live on air. Listen over your phone. Don't listen to your radio because it causes a delay. Airtime is very valuable, you know. I could use the entire 2 hours just talking. But I don't want to do that. I want you to talk to me too. I want to get input from you. That's why it's a call-in show. And people need to take advantage of that. You're not taking advantage as you ought to. We need to have more people call in and talk about this heat wave, how it's affecting them. Those in the family islands. The islands just seem to be so isolated. With all this technology we have in this country, and all of these connections, I can talk to the fella down in Acklands. He could stay right in Acklands, I could talk to him. So why is it then that we're not communicating as we ought to? We're not communicating as often as we ought to and should be communicating. Even people right here on New Providence. Some of them you don't see, people who I know personally. And it's just a matter of picking up the telephone and making a simple telephone call. Well, now you got problems with the telephone company. You can't get a simple telephone call out. You got to keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. What kind of crap is that? That causes more frustration because you got to keep trying to make a simple, basic telephone call. What kind of crap is that? The services are falling down, Bahamians. The health services are falling down. We got to face the harsh reality. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, yes.
I see in Abaco where they ain't got no current on to the airport. The people didn't get no cash there. People stuck to the airport in Abaco.
What kind of crap is this? Yeah, they're talking about the digital age.
Huh?
They're talking about this digital age.
I know, darling, but no digital. But I know that's what the man saying now. I have to see on my phone and
send that
to, come on.
Send that to my producer. What's the number? 8130271.
Professor, we in problem, we in problem in this country, man.
Oh, hold on a minute for me. Let me give you the number to send that information. 813?
I have it.
Oh, you have it?
Number.
Okay, send it right to my producer. I could see it.
Yeah, okay.
Now go ahead, make your comment.
Yeah, man, Professor, we in trouble, man.
No, we in serious trouble.
Last night I had a guy burn my air conditioner so hot and they told me the light bill so high. I can't wait when the light bill high.
Where we going?
Open up. Open up. So I got to burn my air conditioner.
Where's this progress the man tell me about?
We in trouble.
No, we in very serious trouble. Because if we fail to admit that we are wrong on many things, we will keep making the same mistake.
Professor, let me say something else to you, Darren.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'd have to call the MP who didn't get it in time with Gardner. I called him to my whatever paid. It had like an order in it.
Oh.
But he cleared up for me now. When he get in power, I called him and he fixed up for me. He went to waterways.
Okay.
Whereas being there was had an order like till it. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, you would smell that.
But he fixed it.
That's not nice to bathe in.
Thank God for him.
Yeah, well, I appreciate.
I had my whole bathroom set up.
Well, I'm happy that you were able to get that out of there because that's not good to bathe in.
We need help in this country, man. We need some good people to take over this country. Good, decent people.
Yes. Well, the Bible gives you the answer to that, It tells you.
Okay, so you have a nice day.
Yeah, well, thank you, Colin. Thank you very much for your contribution. No, we need quality people to run things. Okay? Not just any and everybody. I understand there's 147 boards that have been appointed by the Prime Minister. And I heard the people from the Contractors Association, their board hasn't been appointed yet. And according to Debbie Deal and Mr. Leonard, I think it's Smith, the president of the Contractors Association, people are losing millions of dollars in revenue because of unlicensed contractors in this country. And yet, that board hasn't been set up yet, so they could analyze these people. All of that leads to frustration. You know what frustration does? It keeps building up, building up, building up. I told the caller he wouldn't want me to answer what would happen at the end. I can let you think about that. But Bahamians, we're talking about this massive heat wave. This is year number 3, And we are at its worst ever, and the lights are constantly going off. over and over and over again. People stuck at the airport. Can't move. The man say they want digital. They want cashless. The man can't keep the light on. What kind of crap is that? Huh? You better have some cash in your hand. When we were cash, being able to pay by cash, that was simpler, and yet people were able to get business done. But right now, everything is all confused. The lines are open, 326-0272, 813-0271, 502-4571. Famous, we're talking about the weather, the blistering heat that we've been having in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And of course, we've had a little bit of rain come down to kind of wet the place. But then it gets hot again. And then when it gets hot, it becomes very uncomfortable. We got to be hydrated so we don't die from heat stroke. Some have already gone, you know. This is Professor Sidney McGrath of Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Wake up every weekday on 99.5 FM
This is Steve Harvey, your main man.
with a Steve Harvey Morning Show.
Why did you have 4 phones?
That boy was killing it.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
Because it was in L.A., Carla. Hello?
I was rolling with him. I was like, this boy's outstanding. Hey, we going to the W Hotel. Living my best life. Woo, I could truly tell you that I was doing way too much.
Weekday morning from 6 to 10. Let's go. Over here on
99.5 FM. I'm out.
Ready to make this school year the most stylish one yet? Head over to Brass and Leather, Charlotte Street or Marathon Mall, and the Luggage Store Centerville. Upgrade your look with iconic backpacks from Kipling, Herschel, Stephen Joseph, or the all-leather from Land. Plus, get rewarded. Buy any backpack or wheeled backpack from the Toto Ecol collection and get an exclusive gift with purchase. Don't wait. Gear up in style today at the Brass and Leather Shop and the Luggage Store.
Back to school means back to John West. We have school shoes for toddlers to college kids. Teachers, we have shoes for you too, like heels and flat comfy shoes. And now introducing Hush Puppies. This iconic brand focuses on comfort and style. Don't forget, we also have a variety of your favorites, like slippers, sandals, Crocs, sneakers, including Reebok Classics, and even safety boots. Whatever your footwear needs, let us put shoes on your feet.
John West Shoe Company, located Carmichael Road West, Plaza behind the Walk-Up Wendy's. Contact us at 603.
Shop early to get your uniforms and get Janae's Uniform Center's buy 4, get 1 free sale. Free monogrammed and regular school shirts, dry fit and cotton polos, jumpers, skirts, boys long and short pants, PE shorts, underclothes, tights, socks, neckties, belts, sleeping mats, hair accessories, and character work desks. Get 50% off backpacks, lunch bags, and raincoats. Buy 4 school shirts, get 1 free. Buy 2 skirts, jumpers, or pants, get the third 50% off. Need embroidery and monogramming done? Visit Janae's Uniform Center early. Beat the back to school rush. Janae's Chesapeake Road back to school special. Restrictions apply.
South Beach to Bay Street.
I'm pleased, I really dig your company.
It's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
All you got to do now.
This is Professor Sidney McGrath of Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Of course, Sister Shea is going to be on tomorrow, and she'll be speaking on more than value, more value to life, super value, and family business. I think I got that right, Mr. Producer. But the thing is that she'll be on tomorrow. She'll be having a special tribute to the life of Mr. Rupert Roberts Jr. He's been an outstanding businessman. There'll be 3 guests on the show tomorrow. We'll be speaking to his legacy And I think that, he's been a very outstanding businessman in the country. In fact, we need more of people like him. And I wish we will learn from his example and do better, because Bahamians, there are a lot of problems in this country relating to food, relating to pricing structure, and a lot of things need to be worked on. So he set an example, and we need to improve on what we have. In other words, let's improve on what has been left by him so that we can have better things happening as we move forward into the future. So that Sister Share tomorrow, more than value, a family business, making a contribution to national development. So listen for that tomorrow between 2 and 4? I think 2 to 4 tomorrow, yes, on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. So make sure you tune in. And I think that's the 10th part of the series. This is the closing episode of that particular series we had in place. And so please listen to that tomorrow and participate in it. Call in, and let's give Mr. Rupert Roberts the tribute that he rightfully deserves. So what I wanted to say when I came back on air, I want to invite persons from the healthcare profession. I want you to listen very carefully to this. I do not know all the names of persons who are in the healthcare profession. Those who are doing natural things in the healthcare profession, we don't know all their names and their contacts, so it's rather difficult to find out where. Number two, we have specialized people who are trained in health services, who can speak as to why we are losing too many of our people in this country. We're losing too many. They're dying. We haven't yet answered why. Why is it that so many are dying at such a young age? Every time you turn around, there's one gone. Sooner or later, we have nobody in this country, unless we have full of a bunch of strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders. We need to understand what is happening to our people in relation to the heat. Because many people who are out there in these families throughout the country do not have persons who can assist them properly. We need to educate them, Bahamians. That's why I need the healthcare professionals to come on the show, to give us some of their expertise, to give us some of their experience, so you can help the masses. When an emergency happens, they don't know what to do, because they've not been educated, they haven't been told. And those of you who know better, you know what happens to people. This frustration level is building up, and it's getting too high now. You got people who want to commit suicide. Why? Why do they want to commit suicide? Taking an overdose of pills. Maybe not prescription pills, but over-the-counter pills. Maybe they may try to get some prescription pills as well. But the point is, you have young people. They're not as young as I am now. I might as well tell you that. I told one today, he gave me his age. I said, it's like you some time to get as young as I am. And he laughed. But I want him to live. Where are you going now? We need to help our young people to live, so they can get as young as I am and even younger. The point is, if people do not know or do not understand some very basic health care principles, they haven't been taught. No one ever took the time to explain anything to them. We're not getting enough information on the airwaves. We're not getting enough information from the healthcare professionals. You may have one or two that come on and give a little spot announcement here and a little spot announcement there. That's not good enough. good enough at all. We have to get more time than that. So I want to invite persons in the pharmaceutical side and persons who are in the side where they have natural health. Because you got two branches out there, the pharmaceutical side and then the people with natural health. I prefer the natural health. That's my personal choice. Because we have people like that out there. We want them to give us of your time. Call, leave your name and number at the station so I could make that contact with you and see how we can make some information available to the Bahamas. You could be anywhere in the country. You don't have to be here in New Providence. You could be down in Acklands. You could be down in Exuma. We have the technology to do it. And yet we're sitting on it. We're not communicating as we should be. And the only time you hear is when people got gossip, rumor, and hearsay. See, the lady called us from Pinewood was telling us about the lighting again. And what was happening at an airport where the lights went out. People stuck. They can't move because they ain't taking no cash. They won't go cashless. You can't go cashless if you can't keep the lights on. That I can wait. So the thing is that we have to be sensible in our decision making. We can't just go running after what other people do. I notice that in this country, We want to go after what we see other nations are doing. If we say, oh, that's what they're doing, we can want to do that too. Let me just give you a simple example. Say, for example, Centerville. Centerville has many divisions in Centerville, different sections. For example, I live in Fort Fincastle. Fort Fincastle has issues. Mason's Addition has issues. That part of Centerville, where they used to call Centerville in October, they have issues. Sunlight Village, Sunlight Cottage, and going further south and further west. You have these communities of people where there are pockets of situations that affect those people in those particular areas only. Doesn't affect nobody outside the areas. And yet we are not organizing ourselves to deal with those issues that affect those people. Why? One size doesn't fit all. We have to be concerned about what is happening on the ground with the health conditions of our people in this blistering heat. Because a lot of people are being affected negatively. And they sit right there and suffer. Why? I spoke the other day about, was it yesterday? Or maybe the day before. About people calling into the talk shows. And I did mention about the fact that we need more people to call into the talk shows. And how is it that these people behind the microphones have been discouraging people from calling in by their bad behavior? They don't understand constitutional law. They have no understanding of statute law. They got the microphone in front of them talking crap. And then the callers may not fully understand. So I have to be very patient with callers that call into the show because I know they don't understand. Nobody took the time to explain simple, basic, fundamental things to them. And the same thing has to be done with health matters. And how this blistering heat is affecting people. We got to hear what the healthcare professionals are saying about that. What can the people do? Some of you all may think it's okay, they should know what to do. They don't know what to do. And many people in these homes where there are sick people, vulnerable people. And I think about this all the time. because I see it every day in my life. How do these people survive? Because they're surrounded with people who do not understand some basic fundamental things. You got to get them to understand that. Even the animals also looking for water. And people would put food out, but they won't put no water for the dog or the animals. They need water. They get heated as well. And they're looking for water. And the residents don't even know that. They ain't got enough sense to understand that. Because no one told them better. You say, oh, they should know the dog need water. They don't know that the dog need water. They see the dog up and up and up. Maybe they say, they don't know what to do, Bahamians. You can't take nothing for granted. That's why we keep losing lives. And I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. And so I'm asking the health care professionals, those in the pharmaceutical side, those in the natural health side, I'm asking you to call in, leave your name and contact number so we could look at this blistering heat problem, how it's affecting our people, and why so many are dying. Because it could be avoided. I'm working hard to avoid it. Because I grew up in a family that my mother knew what to do, and what she told us to do still works. Even though she's not here now, but it's still working. I told my doctor that the other day. I say, doctor, things what my mother taught me, it's still working. And the man tell me if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So but I can try to fix something what's been working for decades. I'm not changing that, Bahamians. But many of you didn't have parents who were trained in the profession of lighting. My father was, of course, he engineer. That's with the light. So he was dealing with light. My mother was dealing with health issues. And in those days, they needed them to take care of the sick and to keep the lights on so they could do business. Now today, we can't keep the lights on. And these people are supposed to be better educated. Went to all kinds of schools, this school, that school, the next school. All these service awards they supposed to have had. And all we got is a whole ball of confusion, causing tremendous frustration. The Constitution says you ain't supposed to have no frustration, you know. Not one single ounce of frustration. Not even 1 second of frustration. That's unconstitutional. Do you know that? All we get is frustration. And it's causing people to get sick. And with all this massive heat wave on in the day and in the night, ain't making life any better. That means we got to do something about that. We can't just be sleeping and let things happen. Because I know in this third year, this heat is affecting me more now than ever before. And I have to take every precautionary measure, as I will always do, because I was taught to do that, and prevent some things from happening. That's why I close my ears to when people talking crap. But then the average person don't know that. Whatever they hear, they think that's what should be done, to their detriment. So I am appealing to the health care professionals. I make this general appeal, like I did when I was talking to the fellows who deal with the accountants. I didn't get any response from them. When I asked them to give us some of their time to explain these financial terms inside of the budget. Well, people in Bay Town don't know them funny things, what they be talking about. People in Foxhill, people in Fort McCall, they don't know what they mean. But then all these sophisticated persons who in that profession, They can explain the financial terminology. They know it better than me. And when it comes to the Constitution, they off limits with that. They ain't fool. Don't mess with that. I could deal with that. But the point is, there are things that others who are best qualified to deal with and to help build a nation. You don't keep it locked into yourself. Oh, by the way, let me just mention this now while it's come in my head. You can watch all of the shows on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas YouTube channel. Just press in Professor Sidney Thompson. And you will get this show that's on now, live on air. Or you could look at all those other shows on the Constitution. There are plenty of shows out there. It's a whole lot I didn't know. There's so many out there. So you ain't got to ask nobody nothing. You go and check the evidence for yourself, and you tell me if the information is constitutionally sound. I want you to check it out for yourself. Don't listen to this crap that people talking foolishness. The evidence is right there. Everything that I have said in relation to the Constitution, and of course you have others who had their views too on these shows. So they have a right to express their view. But that does not mean because they express their view that is right. Not everything you hear is right. If they're expressing a point of view, expressing a particular situation, they have a right to do that. The law says they could do that. Same thing with the area of health. You could have a healthcare professional express a view on something in relation to health, but it may not be true. But we got to hear from them anyhow. I need them to come and tell us why so many people are dying. Why so many people are sick. Why is it that people are not getting well? Now we got the Ministry of Wellness. How many people are getting well from the Ministry of Wellness? The Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Wellness. You can't just have these names just like that, paying out all this money and people still dying. What kind of crap is that? It just doesn't make any sense, Bahamians. And not enough of you out there are putting the pressure in the right places so that change can occur. You people out there working in all that blistering sun. You haven't done anything about it yourself. You just fall off the roof and die. Fall in the tree and die. Fall in electrical wire and die. That's what you want? And then the family, they lose a breadwinner. And these are things that have been happening over and over and over again while we sit and allow the crap to keep going on. Maybe I don't like that. And just recently, a good friend of mine passed, was having some heart problems. People have some, what they call heart murmurs, whatever that's supposed to mean. I don't understand that. I need one healthcare professional to talk about that. Now, that was constitutional. I could deal with it, but I understand now some strange things are happening among our younger people. And they had to go get checked out. Well, I got to let my doctor check me. Well, he always check my heart to see if it's, beating properly. That's one of the things he does. My personal doctor, he would check that and check some other things too that need to be checked on. All right? So you need the healthcare professionals to help you and assist you. So I'm asking those on the pharmaceutical side and on the natural side, those who deal with natural medicines and natural ways of getting people well, I'm asking them to call in, leave their names and their contacts so I can talk to them and bring some of them on the show. Because we need to understand what's going on, Bahamians. We're a small country, we don't want all these people to keep dying like this when it could be avoided. With simple, basic, fundamental information. Some crappy things people are eating and they don't know they shouldn't eat it. And they get very sick. And then they come back and say, well, I didn't know. or the family may say they didn't know. When a person gets very sick and they die, and all you could say is you didn't know, you have to know ahead of time, Bahamians. You can't keep allowing things to happen because you didn't know. You've got to get to know. The line's open, 3260272, 8130-271, 502-4571. We need to do better, Bahamians. And I'm saying to those people who are out there in the sun, if the man don't want to do better, don't wait for him. Cut him off. You may say, Professor, well, I need the job. And I got to feed my children. You ain't going to be around to feed those children because you're going to be dead. When this heat finishes with you, and you're going to have some internal problems that you may not see right at the very beginning. That's a lot of people who understand about health issues. Some things doesn't manifest themselves right at the very beginning. So I learned all these things from people who helped me along the way. And I can stay around till the man come back. And I want you to stay around till the man come back, because it ain't going to be long before he come, you know. And you can't last for a couple more years. Come on! What happened to us? People dying in their 30s, people dying in their 20s, people dying in their teens. And the teens are supposed to be the future. That's what they tell me now. They're the future leaders of the country. So if they're going to be the future leaders, then they got to stick around. See that crew that disappeared on Church Street and Shirley Street? They were teenagers in one vehicle. We lost them. We only have memories of what the potential may have been like, but we ain't sure. And we even lost some since then. So we have to find a way to deal with these health issues, to deal with these problems that afflict our people. Now, some things you have to tell the young people, listen, can't go that way. That's not the best way to go. And I saw some of them, they sassy on the mouth. And that same mouth they got can put them in trouble. Because the way some of them speak to their elders is very disrespectful and distasteful. But they have to learn. And someone or some people have to tell them, can't let them run amok. You won't be around and they won't be around. So we don't want that. So we're talking about conditions that affect the people. I want to hear from the family islands. We don't hear from the family islands as often as we should. How are conditions in your area? What is life like in Cat Island, in Andros, in North Abaco? I think it was North Andros where they had that plane crash. What has been happening since that plane crash? Where 10 people perished. 10 precious souls perished. We lost them. And these were talented people, by the way. Very talented people, I understand, from reports that come across my desk. Very talented people. And they all died. Payments, that is very serious. And every time I think about it, it saddens me. Now, of course, the Christian Council talked about 21 days of prayer for the nation. I heard some people talking about that. I'm going to speak to that briefly in the show because I think it needs to be spoken to. And some people, of course, said some things that were very unkind about the Christian Council. They took things right out of context. People only could go by what they know, or what they appear prepared to understand. And so you're going to have mixed emotions from different people because of a lack of understanding. I'll speak more to that when I get back from the break. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio. We're talking about this blistering heat. I want to hear from you, Bahamian. How is this heat affecting you? It's affecting me negatively. I can tell you that right off the top. So I got to stay out of it. The man tells me drink plenty of water. I say, okay, I can drink plenty of water. And find a place to go. I don't know if the water to disappear. I'm drinking so much water. Where it going? Must be keeping me hydrated. That's all I can say. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Hey, it's Jeff Box that rocks the box. Join me every week. We always have a good time. We've got some of the biggest stars of today's R&B stopping by to say hello. And of course, the best music in the city. There's only one place to be. Hanging out with me, Jeff Box that rocks the box.
On Locals 99.5 FM.
August is sure to be epic at the Cricket Club on West Bay Street. Along with their already fantastic menu, it will also be Lobster Fest for the month of August. Lobster fritters, lobster bits, lobster salad, minced lobster, cracked lobster, lobster seafood pot pie, broiled lobster, lobster and steak, lobster, lobster, lobster. Experience the Lobster Fest at the Cricket Club on West Bay Street. They're open Sundays through Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. with live music on Friday nights. And there's a Sans Beer Special, free for $11. So, for that same great food and fun and the August Lobster Fest, come to the Cricket Club, Haynes Oval, West Bay Street. Telephone 326-4720.
At Apex Award Signs and Engraving, the name says it all. The country's trusted name for trophies, plaques, corporate seals, rubber stamps, badges, bumper stickers, traffic and street signs, keychains, t-shirts, interior signs, restaurant menus, and so much more. Apex Award Signs and Engraving, number 128 Mount Royal Avenue in Wilton Street. Open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and 9 to 1 on Saturdays. Visit the website at apexawardsbahamas.com. Apex Award Signs and Engraving, number 1 in the Bahamas.
Miss, what you calling at your phone for? Child Bahamas Circulation just posted this flyer, and I already know where I'm going August 1st and what I going to get. What flyer? The 8 Baker and Sons 10 clearance sale. Wait, 8 Baker and Sons?
Yes, the famous dry goods store on Bay Street. They're making way for new inventory, so they're bringing some stuff to Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center for a huge 10 clearance sale.
Really? What they gonna have? Back to school basics like shirts, sweaters, pants, dresses, ties, and so much more. Wait, so we need to get there early before everybody else then. That's the plan. August 1st, don't be calling me in the morning because I'll already be shopping.
Starting August 1st, don't miss the A. Baker and Sons 10 clearance sale at Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center, Mackey Street, former Q Club building. Come on down and say hello to Goodbyes.
From Cable Beach to Montague, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. This is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Even though we have our share of problems, we can solve every one of them, you know. Do you know that, Bahamians? And sometimes some people look at things, and I want to ask Mr. Thompson from Michigan if he could explain what he sent on Facebook, explain what you were trying to say to me. I am not quite sure. But if you could make the message much clearer, I could probably deal with it. And I think we had something else that occurred, Mr. Producer, 1 or 2 days ago. Someone had sent something in, and I wanted clarity on that. I can't remember what it is, but I believe we have a caller on the line. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Professor, I'm calling in to add to what you said about workers working in the heat.
Yeah.
Okay. You got some restaurants, at least one restaurant that comes to mind is Randy. It's of them people are there in the hot sun every day. And then they try to give them a tent to live shade. I understand that, but shoot, I shall see down it. I know the increment stage run or switching periodically with the workers or what. But yeah, it's just putting that down.
Oh, you're talking about the drive-in restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Yeah, okay, they should be in a place where there's shade. Yeah, I would agree with that. And see, these are the kind of things you don't know, and these are young ladies, and I think they need to be protected.
Right.
No, but that's a valid point. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a very valid one. I hadn't thought of it. But in fact, I was there just yesterday. I went to get two bowls, one for me, one for my sister. And no, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. Thank you very much for that contribution.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? Oh, I thought he wanted to add something. Paul, you wanted to add something? I didn't hear you.
Do it again?
No, I thought you finished. No, I'm saying if you were finished with your comment.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you very much. No, what he brought up is a valid point. And those that are working in construction, you all need to talk to the man. If the man ain't listening, then you tell him he ain't coming on your job in this blistering heat. He can't heal you when you're sick, and he can't raise you from the dead. Now, I know you say, Professor, I need the job. I got to feed my children. You ain't going to be there to feed no children after you're dead. What you think will happen? There comes a time, Bahamians, when you've got to stand up and speak for your rights, your freedoms, your privileges. Because the man ain't thinking about you. The man thinking about how much money he could make. And you ain't there, you just say, I'll replace somebody else. But if you stop and let the man know, you ain't going on with that foolishness. See, it comes a time in life when you have to make some hard decisions, Bahamians. I don't think, how many years have we been independent? 53 years. We've just been coasting along. We haven't made some real hard, tough decisions as to how this country should be going forward. And by the way, it just came into my head. Some people were saying about the vision for the country. Let me just say this to you. I don't know about all these reported visions that people say they have in their head as to what they would like. Let's see the Bahamas be like 25 years down the road, 20 years down the road, what have you. But you know something? I tell people all the time, you have a constitution. Your constitution, if the government of the Bahamas would go by that constitution, you won't have any problems in this place. Do you know that? If they run things according to that document, that's the document we ought to be working with. Not if someone got one piece of paper say this is the vision for the Bahamas. You got to be crazy. You work with the Constitution. Now, if there are to be some changes to it, well, then we could have discussion on that. That's a different kettle of fish. But when people talk about vision for this country, not a living soul ever mentions the Constitution. I listen to all the crap they be talking on the radio. Vision for this, vision for that, vision for the next. What kind of crap is that? And I say, well, the document is right here. And that's why I want you to go to YouTube. Press in Professor Sidney Thompson. You get all those things there about the Constitution. And I haven't even covered 1/10 of it yet. Do you know that? Not even 1/10 of it. There are many things in that document that need to be explained. And of course, it costs money to do these things, you know. That's why we need your sponsorship for the show. So I could stay on the air. And not only stay on the air, but do some things off air. Because there's much more that needs to be done on the ground. And some of you are not understanding that. Because for 53 years, We've been coasting. We haven't made some real hard decisions that we ought to make, which, if we do make them, we can have some changes and work in line with the Constitution. That's your salvation document. You need anything else? The Constitution, the Holy Bible, you straight. We get plenty vision there. But there are some people who have some ideas in their head. Fine, nothing wrong with those ideas. Constitution allows for that. But the vision of the country is in the Constitution. What kind of people we ought to be, what kind of nation we ought to be, right there. Ain't got no further than that. Now, we can improve on it if there are some errors, some mistakes that we've made, and we made plenty of errors over the last 53 years. We got to correct them. That's what we need to be doing. But you got some people who say they have a vision for the country. Fine. Is it constitutionally sound? Yes or no? That's the first question I got asked about it. What are we doing about this blistering heat? We ought to do something about that. The Constitution speaks to that too, you know. You didn't know that, eh? We can't keep allowing things to happen, and the problems keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where people's lives are being impacted negatively, and they're not living as long as they should be living. Their lives are cut short because of health conditions that are affecting them negatively. And again, I'm asking the healthcare professional people, I'm putting this general announcement out now, again, because I need to get the healthcare people on, those in the pharmaceutical area, those who deal with pharmaceutical medicines and all that other thing, and doctors who are specialists in these different areas. We need your expertise. So we want you to call in, leave your name and number, and I'll contact you and see how I can fit as many of you in as possible, because this blistering heat is affecting us very badly. People are dying. But no one is saying nothing about it. Not a living soul. And you have some greedy employers out there who want these workers to stay in that blistering heat, to do business for them, to do work for them. They don't care about the people. That's foolishness. That's nonsense. You have to stop that foolishness. But then the workers themselves have to take appropriate action and let their views be made known. But you can't just sit there in the muck and the mire and expect things to happen. It doesn't work that way. There are times you got to trouble the water. When the water was troubled, the man dipped in, he got healed. But as long as it stayed flat and still, nobody checking. They say, you like it like that? The man was laying there for 38 years, lame. And Christ asked him, would you like to be made whole? The man said, listen, every time I go to step to go in the pool when the water get trouble, the other fellas come walk past me and beat me to the pool. So Jesus tell him, say, now you take up your bed and you start walking right now. The man took up his bed, he gone. And he was walking, he didn't have to go in the pool anymore. There comes a time, Bahamians, when the water has to be troubled. Otherwise, ain't nothing happening for us. There comes a time when divine intervention have to happen for the sake of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Oh, yes, I was talking about the Christian Council who are having this 21 days, excuse me, of prayer for the problems that afflict the country. I see nothing necessarily wrong with that. Because I can be praying with them too, even after the 21 days is finished. Prayer changes things. Now, there were some people who were extremely critical and saying this is not a Christian nation. What do you mean this is not a Christian nation? We were founded on Christian values and the rule of law. See how stupid that is? We're not perfect people. God's people were never perfect people. When Dr. Cooper explained to us what was in 1 Peter 2, verses 8 and 9, I think it is, we're a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, people whom God called out of darkness into light. And you criticizing the council because they say 21 days of prayer. Let's join with them 21 days of prayer. But there are those who will always criticize. They have nothing to offer. Now, I agree there are some things we ought to do. We got to repent. We got to change. We have to do better. But the prayers, yes, I go in along with the Christian Council with 21 days of prayer. I like to pray. But prayer changes things. God hears the prayers of his people, and he answers them. Our contact with God, God speaks to us through the written word of God. We speak to God in prayer. Got to have that contact. Otherwise, ain't nothing happening. Now, there's some things God will tell us we got to do, and we ought to do it. And so the thing is that we have to work together. Some people say, but the Christian Council should not be in national affairs. Why not? They ought to be right there. And helping to help those who've been elected and appointed to run this country the right way. Can't leave it up to them. Just like that. They are going to need all the help they can get, whether they realize it or not. Because like I said, with this blistering heat, there's been no real change. Not with the transportation industry. People who got to catch the jitney, they're standing in all that blazing heat. And there has been no shade put up for them. Check it out for yourself, Bahamians. None. And the construction workers out in that heat. No protection for them. They wouldn't even change the time. Say, okay, we'll bring them in earlier in the morning or later on in the afternoon. They wouldn't do that. Adjust the times. But they haven't done that. And these are things we need to look at. You do not know the negative impact on the lives of these people until they're very sick and about to die. Then you say, oh, I didn't know. What do you mean you didn't know? This heat affects people differently because you got some people with some serious health issues. And let me just add this while it's in my head. The men. You men, you don't like to go to the doctors. You men are too secretive about your health situation. I know about this because I deal with men all the time. So I could speak to that. But when I go to see my doctor, I don't see no men there. How come? Not a man in the office. All you got is a bunch of females. So I keep saying, where the men? I mean, they ain't sick then. They must be all well and healthy. When I look again, I say, well, it ain't so. And they just keep disappearing. And people who I know well now. And then someone say, Professor, someone who you know just passed off. And I got some bad news just a couple of days ago. And I was very disappointed because this person I knew very well. Now, I knew the person had a problem with their heart, Some people having some serious heart problems in this country. And we need you health care professionals to come on the radio and give us of your expertise so we can help the general public to understand some basic fundamental things, what they ought to be doing in terms of their health. We're not getting that. Now, you may get a little nippets here and there, but that ain't good enough. We got to have more than that. And we got those in the natural health, and we got those in the pharmaceutical health. So you got two branches right there, the natural and the pharmaceutical. So we want to hear from both. So you could call in and just leave your name and contact number so I could call you. And let's see what we could line up on the show so that we could help our people with this problem of health, which is affecting us very negatively. And people are dying. I don't like it. When we lose the breadwinner of a house, you know that house could be suffering for years to come. Do you know that? Well, daddy ain't there no more. Uncle ain't there no more. Or the big brother, the big sister who was taking care of the house. Bing! All of a sudden they're just gone. And it ain't because of they're dying from old age. You got to be 175 to die from old age. That's a biblical definition for old age. God told Abraham, you will live to a good old age. Well, the man tell me 175. We ain't nowhere near 175. People are struggling to get to 30, get to 40. Huh? Because young people are sick, getting sick. And they're supposed to be the future leaders of the country. They got to keep them well. And if they don't stay well, then we have some serious problems going down the road. Some of these people may never really get their national insurance check. And that's going to be another problem for them. They're depending on that. But they contributed to that fund. But then you got no more people to keep the fund going. Then what? Something's going to drop, Damien. So we got to deal with this massive heat wave wisely. We can't just let it keep running on, and we ain't doing nothing about it. So we need our healthcare professionals to help us on appealing again. And then I will move on to something else. Those who in the healthcare profession, I'd like for them to call in and leave their contact number so I can call them and contact them. Those who are in the natural medicines, because they have a contribution to make, and those who are dealing on the pharmaceutical side with all these pharmaceutical medicines they have out there, which are being sold to help people in different areas. There's plenty on the market, all kinds of things on the market that are out there. But we want our people to get well and to stay well. Now, there are some things we have to do. Okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people, they have some minor issues and they have to keep running to the doctor and checking on this, checking on that, because they don't know, they don't understand. So I'm not knocking them for that. But if we could get them to learn some basic fundamental things, then that wouldn't be a problem. And then they could move on to do better. The lines are open, 326-0272, 813-0271, 502-4571. I haven't heard anything from the Family Island people as yet. And we have to find a way how to wake them up. I can find a way to wake them up. Because basically we had people from New Providence, and New Providence people, you could continue to call the show. I appreciate that, because I'm from New Providence. We got to shake up our brothers and sisters in the family. And Grand Bahama, what happened to you people over there in Grand Bahama? Y'all got tired, eh? Huh? Or all your problems have been solved. If all the problems have been solved, help us in New Providence. We got all kind of problems over here. So if all your problems have been solved, that's good. But you ain't tell me. You ain't say, Professor, all our problems have been solved. Or is it that something else is happening? Because we still have industrial unrest in this country. And we should see the results if there are any positive things that are happening. Because basically what you do here is when there's a problem. But you don't hear the problem getting solved. And if the problem is being solved, or has been solved, what are the benefits? Let us hear the benefits. What are the benefits people are getting? There should be a benefit if a problem has been solved. Now, if ain't nothing gets solved, well, then ain't no benefits. They're right back at zero again. So payments, we have to wake up, man. 53 years as an independent nation. Let's see now, 60 years, I think, since majority rule, right on up to now. And I was offended when I heard a talk show host talking about racism or on the radio show. I said to myself, I thought that died January the 10th, 1967. This racial slurs and racial competition, white versus black, brown versus dark, or whatever. I thought that was history. Because the pigmentation of one's skin means absolutely nothing. Okay? Absolutely nothing. But there may be some people in our midst who think like that. But I thought that matter was a dead issue. But someone mentioned it, and they'd called the name of a particular school, and it is true what was said at that point in the past. That school did not accept people of color. All right? That's true. I know that to be true. But I thought that was all behind us now. People going on to bigger and better things, but seems like it raises ugly head again. But I think we need to put it back where it belongs. Throw it back 60 years ago. Huh? We left that behind January the 10th, 1967. And we have the majority now should be in charge to run the place. That's majority rule. We've been celebrating that for 60 years this coming January. So I do not expect this, what's happening in the United States now, they're having some racial problems over there. And even when Martin Luther King was around, we were having some things happen for us in the Bahamas. We didn't pay much attention to it. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon to you and your listening audience.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
My concern is, what are you talking about? I worked at a hospital in healthcare, and now for the past 2.5 months, the old people up there who collect the money in the Anglican Diocese parking lot, their booth has been knocking down. There is no tent, no shade, and them two old people be out there every day in the hot, blazing, hot sun.
Now, this is where, now let me make sure I understand it.
To the Anglican Diocese on top of the hill.
Yes.
Right there.
Oh, you mean?
From the lady who sells the food.
Oh, yes.
And the parking lot all day. There's no shade for them two old people. And they be there all day in that blazing hot sun. No tent, no shade.
Okay, all right.
From the booth was knocked down, there was no shade. I think that is so inhumane on the diocese.
Oh, okay, yeah. On the diocese side?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, all right, okay. No, that's not good at all. Are they supposed to be Christian people?
All right then. They're supposed to be Christian people, and you treat people like you in your office, and you looking at them down there. The clergy office is right there.
Right here, the clergy
and you
office
looking
right
at them
there.
people collecting money all day for you. Treat all this parking, and my God, you can't put up a tent or a shed.
Yes, ma'am. I'm delighted you brought that up. And then another one brought up something that I didn't think of. I hadn't thought of this one too. See, this is what I try to tell to people understand. This heat is affecting me.
All right then, and you and
I'm in air condition. I told my boss, I say, I'm so delighted that we got air conditioning in this place. I wouldn't be able to work in here.
All right then, and them people out there tired, and they are all day look like they in their 60s, 70s.
Okay, yeah. I am so delighted you brought that up. See, that's what I want the public to understand. Bring these issues on air. We have to air it out because the Anglican diocese ain't checking for that.
No, the Anglican diocese, because somebody wrote it up the other day in the 242 in the noon, and they still has not addressed the situation. Send the people home. You all want money that bad that you all have to have people out there in that hot blazing sun?
Yes, ma'am. No, I am so delighted you brought that. See, that is what we need to be thinking about. Cole, I really appreciate your contribution today.
I appreciate your concern, Mr. Sidney, and for the fast food restaurant workers who be outside all that heat.
Yes. The caller brought that up too, and I can't think of everything, but both of you are correct. And those are the things I keep saying to the Bahamian people. These are things that happen every single day that affects the ordinary citizens of this country, and we let the crap keep running on.
And that's what the problem is. The crop is running on to Sidney because nobody wants protest. Nobody parking my lot.
Yes.
Let the diocese them park to themselves, and then nobody will have to be in there tell you build some kind of shade or put up a tent.
Yeah, they should put up a tent or a shade. Yeah, I agree with you. And thank you very much for your contribution. Thank you,
to Sidney for talking about this and
Yes,
for the
ma'am.
fast food workers.
Yes, okay. Thank you very
All
much. Those are two good calls. I need more callers like that. Bahamians, you all got to open your mouth, man. Don't have me here talking by myself. I don't want to do that. I mean, I could do it, but, I'm delighted that's an excellent call that came in just now. Call us. The lines are open 326-027-281-30271, 502-4571. Many of you, in fact, let me leave this till after the break because they're going to take longer. We need action today, Bahamians. Now, listen, if you don't know how to organize, I can tell you all this again, If you don't know how to organize, you call me. Just leave your name and number right here at the radio station. Say, Professor, we don't know how to organize. Constitution tells you how to do it. The Constitution tells you how to do that and to do some other things as well for your protection of your interests. And you ain't doing nothing about it. When the heat hits you and you get heat stroke, then what? Anyhow, let me stop. This is Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
This is Lenny Green from the Quiet Storm, inviting you to join me tonight starting at 7 p.m. as I serve you that ear candy that you love, baby. I'm dropping all your favorite slow jabs like this. Even this. So lock in with me. It's the Quiet Storm, baby. I'm the Bahamas #1 for R&B. It's Global 99.5 FM.
Perfume Bar is saying bye-bye summer with our buy one, get one 25% off promo. Stock up on your sizzling summer fragrances, Red Hot Cosmetics, Cooling Cosmetics, and Bijou Turner Beach Babe accessories. Bye-bye summer, let's BOGO, only at the Perfume Bar.
We can fix it. General Appliance Company, number 233 Market Street, is the place you've been looking for to repair your AC units, commercial and residential, and vehicle AC repairs too. General Appliance Company sells, repairs, and order parts for refrigerators, stoves, freezers. They can order boards for new and used TVs, They repair small home appliances like irons, blenders, fans, and much more. General Appliance Company. Easiest way to get the parts you need, best place to get it fixed. Call General Appliance Company, number 233 Market Street, 323-6086, 323-6086.
When you shop Y Cares, you can afford to look good, and that includes your students. Featuring uniforms from all the major schools here in New Providence and some in the Family Islands, plus belts, neckties, and underclothes for the boys, and jumpers, tights, and underwear for the girls. Bags, neckties, shoes, and socks for all the students in your house. That school bell is about to ring, and before it does, you need to visit one of the 3 Y Care locations: Bahama Avenue, East Street South, or Prince Charles Road.
Steve Harvey here from the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Everybody knows that I love to chill out with great music. There's only one place you can get this. Tonight at 7 p.m.
As soon as you clock off from work, make sure you lock right into me. I'm Lenny Green from The Quiet Storm, inviting you to come on over. I've got all of that R&B ear candy that you love. Plus, we'll engage in conversations inside a confession of love and so much more. And you never know who's going to drop by. It's The Quiet Storm, all getting underway tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on Global 99.5. I'm Lenny Green from The Quiet Storm.
East Street to Blue Hill Road. It's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. This is the last part of the show, and I just want to mention Sister Shea is going to be here tomorrow. The value of family business and giving back is the topic she will be discussing. She'll have 3 guests tomorrow. And of course, there'll be a special tribute for the late Rupert Roberts, OBE, Order of the British Empire. That's one of the awards he got. And she'll be speaking on that topic. The value of family business and giving back to your country. And Mr. Rupert Roberts did just that, give back to the Bahamian people. And I think we need to recognize the contributions of people like that who have done a lot of good. And we need to be grateful for people like Mr. Rupert Roberts, okay, because he's done a lot of good. And maybe he didn't talk about it, and he doesn't have to. Some other people have to do it for him. But the thing is that we have to pay attention. The value of family business and giving back to your country. See, God has blessed some people and they're able to move ahead. But you got to remember the nation. And my understanding is they have many small businesses who were even in competition with him. And he didn't think nothing of that. But he did it anyhow. I mean, if you would do that. But we need to have the value of family giving back. So I just want to mention that. Sister Shea on tomorrow between 2 and 4. And she'll have 3 guests on for tomorrow. Okay, and I forgot what I was supposed to be saying at this point. It just slipped my memory. But be it as it may, we're talking about the situation with the church, the Anglican Church. Even the people of God have to be corrected. See, there are some things people take for granted. They don't see it, you know. Now, I don't think it's deliberate and intentional, but the enemy works on us who are God's people. God said we have wicked ways. Now, some people might get offended by that, but the man tells me, 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people, which are called by my name, but Anglicans say they're Christians, huh? The bishop writes his office right there. The tent is not there, or the building has been removed, and you got these people in the blistering heat. They could get sunstroke, then what? And even when the bishop was sick, he went in the hospital, he had to get medical treatment. So the thing is that these people have to be protected, and we have to remind them So you gotta look out for the flock. You gotta look after your people. Bishop should get his attention too. I'm not knocking that at all, but you got to take care of the least, the most vulnerable. Matthew 25. And I feel for those construction workers out there, man. The man fall off the roof. And the one got electrocuted in the family island. Say he was doing some work there. He's no longer here. And then people just, nobody wants to say who he's working for. Come on, man. We got to do better than that. We have to do much better than that. So the lines are open, 3260272, 8130271. Let me slow down on the number because my Julian always would tell me I talk too fast. 3260272, 3260272, 8130271, 8130271. And that's the one you use when you want to send me any information on what's happening in the family islands or even right here in New Providence. You send it right to my producer on that number, 8130271, so I could view it and listen to what you have to say, or watch what you have to say. And also 502-4571. That's a new number we have here at Global. 502-4271. All right, so those are the numbers for the radio show. And we want you to use this time wisely to express. I am so delighted those who called in today to talk about the blistering heat. And some of you construction people, you who are managers, you need to take a second look at what you are doing to our workers. You can't heal them when they're sick, and you can't raise them from the dead. We don't know that. So don't make it worse for these families. They cannot afford to lose a breadwinner, because these people suffer years after. And it takes a long time to try to recuperate from that. So we want to avoid it from happening. And that's why I have to take all precautionary measures, because I'm not playing around with this heat. Now, when I have to do any work, I was supposed to get out early this morning, but I didn't. In fact, I was looking for something, I couldn't find it. But by God's grace, I'll be out tomorrow. I get up early to do whatever I have to do when it comes to doing outside work, and get it done before the heat comes in. Well, it's still heat, but not as much as it would be when the sun comes out. As sun hit, it gets even worse. So we have to take precautionary measures, drink a lot of water, and keep our bodies hydrated so we don't suffer heat exhaustion. We cannot afford that. So I want to hear from you in the family islands. I'm going to have to do something with you family island people, There's something I'm working on to wake you people up, because we don't want our nation to continue the way it is going now. It is not in our best interest. We're one nation, not scattered islands here, there, and everywhere. One nation called the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Some of us don't behave like that. We think like Abaco is one nation, and then Andros is another nation, and then New Providence is by itself. Huh? Remember when we had Hurricane Dorian, it devastated Grand Bahama, devastated Abaco, and the people of New Providence came to the rescue. They contributed heavily. I was out there. We took some things out to some people. And when I went on the dock, all I see is tremendous amount of stuff. They had it out in the open, and they will have it lined up to go on the boat. Plenty of stuff, all kind of things. And that was good. So the people in New Providence were very generous, And they contributed heavily to help our brothers and sisters in Grand Bahama and Abaco. That was a good thing. Now, we won't want anything happen to New Providence. God can see to that New Providence remain the lifeline of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Okay? And there are some people, they say some things about us. But that's okay. They have a right to their view. But God knew what he was doing when he put New Providence where it is, when he put Andros where it is, because he looked down the road and said, you know something, plenty of people can be on that island called New Providence. I got to do something to help them. And he did. And there were some who talked about tidal wave coming to wipe out New Providence. And let's hope that never happens, because we don't want the island to be devastated where we're in difficulties trying to recuperate. And it takes Grand Bahama and Abaco still suffering from Hurricane Dorian. They haven't recuperated from that yet. The effects are still there. And Jean and Francis, which were early in Grand Bahama, we're still having lingering effects from those things. They last a long time. And people have suffered. People who are washed out to sea. We don't know how many, but plenty of people got washed out. And they're not here. So we got to take these things seriously. We must not take this heat lightly. It's a serious matter. And people are suffering. They're hurting. They're dying too. I won't stick around, so I got to protect myself. And you need to do the same thing. But you got to help your brothers and your sisters. So I appeal again, like I mentioned again before the show is over, about the healthcare people. I want them to call into the show. Those who are dealing with pharmaceutical medicines and those who are dealing with natural medicines. You want to hear from both sides. Nurses, doctors, healthcare professionals. You have all this information, you got all this knowledge, all this understanding, all this training. Some of you got in service awards and went to school and learned this and learned that. You could share some of that institutional knowledge with the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Too many of you die with it and carry it right in your grave, as some before you have already done. They do nothing with it, They say, I learned that I'm keeping this to myself. So they die with it. I know of a particular personality. I won't call the name of the particular personality. Tremendous learning, tremendous knowledge. In a particular field. I won't even say what field it is. And this person was highly rated in that field. But what happened? That person became sick, and unfortunately the person died. And died with all that knowledge in their head. But it was never shared with the Bahamian people. Isn't that a shame? Well, the constitutional knowledge is right there on YouTube. All you got to do is press Professor Sidney Thompson, and everything comes up right there. And like I tell you, that's not even 1/10 of the Constitution. That's just a smattering of the Constitution. You got plenty of shows there. But some things had to be explained. And the same thing applies to health. The same thing applies to this heat that we are having in this country. Things have to be made simple and plain so people can get it. Some things you got to repeat. Because they don't get it the first time. They don't get it the second time. They may get it the third time. And they say, oh, I see how now. I can work with that. So you want to find anything about Professor Sidney Walter Thompson? Just go to YouTube channel and you press Professor Sidney Thompson. Bing! Everything comes up right there. I'm delighted it's out there. So you can read it for yourself. And if you have any questions, just call on the show. I want to answer any question you have publicly so everybody could get it. And I'm trying to think of that particular question that the person had said. I wanted the person to explain it a little bit clearer before I can answer it. But I can't remember right offhand, but probably get back to me. The thing is now, we're talking about the heat today. And we're talking about the weather conditions. Of course, we've had some rain. And when it rains, excuse me, in some areas it's tremendous flooding. And when there's flooding, you know what happens. People get flooded out. Their homes get all this water in it. And some people have bailed themselves out. And then after a while, the water goes down, but the damage has already been done. And people go through this all the time. It keeps happening. Why should it keep happening? It just doesn't make any sense. We have to find, well, let's put it this way, with all this sophisticated technology, with all this knowledge of this one who is an expert in this, expert in that, expert in the next thing, fine. What's the point of having all this expertise and all we got is problems? You tell me. I'd like for someone to call in right now and tell me, with all the expertise we got in water conservation, we got all kind of flooding problems on New Providence. And also in the Family Islands, it's even worse over there. But in some areas where there were no floods show up. Like in Yamacraw. Some things were happening there. They didn't see it. But it's there now. And it's a problem. And then in the western part of the island where it was not seen then, but it was building up all the time. Now it's there. And people getting affected by it. So we don't want to wait until tragedy strikes before we realize we got a problem. You mean to tell me we ain't got enough sense to recognize that, listen, we have to make some serious changes in the way we do things, all this drilling in the ground, and people not being aware that the damage they're doing to people's homes. And then when the man look, he see cracks in his wall. Where did these cracks come from? You know, he didn't put the cracks there, but they appear. Now he's got to get the place fixed, and he may not have the money. That's another thing. People are struggling to survive. They're trying to keep food on the table for them hungry children. You know, children like eat. You got to feed the children now. Well, you should feed them. Let's put it that way. I know those little ones in my family, they could eat you out of your house. So you got to feed them. You bring these children around, you got to feed them. And that's a part of the responsibility that you have. So you got to be careful when having all these children. And there was a woman who was on air just, I think it was yesterday, and she has 5 children, and she is being put out of this house for whatever reason. The landlord didn't want to have an interview with the person who wanted to talk to her, or him. And so we just heard from the tenant, 5 children, and she needs a place to stay. You got people like that in this country who need help, a place to stay. You won't know what it's like until you get into that situation, you know. And so those of us who have a roof over our head, we should be grateful. We should be very grateful. Because there are some who are looking for a place right now. They don't know where they can sleep tonight. But you have a place. It may not be the best place, but at least you have a place where you can go and you could rest your head be grateful to God for that. Because there are some people that are in a far worse state than we are. And that does not mean you should be content with mediocrity. I'm not saying that at all. But there are some of our brothers and sisters who are in serious trouble, circumstances beyond their control. And there would be those who would say, well, the worst woman should have done this or done that. See, that kind of talk is no help to anybody. The woman has 5 children. She needs a place to stay. That's it. Let's see what we can do to help the woman. She's appealing now to the wider population for assistance. And she have to find a place to have these children with her. And as a mother taking care of 5 children. You know, the burden always seems to fall on the women and not the man. How we get like that? We're the fathers in the lives of these children. And this seems to be a problem. That's a problem we got to get fixed in this country, Bahamians. We have to fix that. And the men, and I'm one of the men in the country, we have to fix that. It shouldn't be a situation where any one particular woman, no matter what you think about that particular woman, should have that kind of burden put on her. The strain of 5 children. We're the fathers of these children. Or the father. Excuse me. And that seems to be a problem in this country. A serious problem. But that is something we have to fix, Bahamians. In all this blistering heat. The woman doesn't have a place where she could rest her head. Those children could sleep peacefully in the night. Because it's a big struggle. I mean, it's not take those things lightly. So, Bahamians, we have to wade through this. I don't know how long this heat wave is going to continue, but this is the 3rd year of it. To tell you that. And the hottest it's ever been. So I have to exercise caution and restraint. I hope you will exercise caution. And healthcare professionals, don't forget now, I'm going to ask you again. Please send your name and contact number so I could call you. Explain to us some things about this heat, why we have this excessive heat, and also why is it that we have so deaths. I hear no one talk about that yet. What happened? Why all these deaths in this nation? Too many people are dying. It might be needed, but there are some things we can do to prevent unfavorable, okay? And frustration. Now, that's a big problem in this country. I saw something like that happen just before I came. Sure. And frustration can cause people to die. Do you know that? I know of situations where it happens. The man asked me to show what I would think would happen if you have this frustration burst out. The end result is death. That's what would happen. And I don't like that. We can avoid that. People's lives can be saved if we handle it wisely and sensibly. Now, healthcare professionals, I want to hear from you. Please call me. Please leave your name and contact so we could contact one another and see how we can work this thing out. Because we got serious problems in this country, man. It is unbearable heat, man. I'm going to be left anytime soon, so we got to pray and ask God to help us in this heat wave. This is year number 3 now. Don't forget, I've been counting. And this is the worst it has ever been in my life. I don't like it. And I don't think you like it either. Let's do something about it. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. I'll be here on Friday. Friday's open line. And Sister Chair will be here tomorrow. Giving back and a tribute will be also done for Mr. Rupert Roberts Jr., the former proprietor of Super Value. This is Professor Sidney McArthur-Walton. Please pray for the nation, Bahamian. I go into the Christian Council. You're talking about this is not a Christian nation. Stop talking foolishness, okay? We are founded on Christian values and the rule of law. Let's pray with the Christian Council for our nation. It's about crime and all these other funny things happening around here. This is Professor Sidney McArthur-Walton Thompson. Do not forget to nation forward. Forward, upward, onward together. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant afternoon.
Oh, you got to do now.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
Time for the Jet Fox Show.
You're fun with great music.
Now it's time for Jet Fox, Nina, and Kiki.